Well, his
Yeah.
message to say that he's on his way. He's just got in, so we'll see. Well, I think we know he's really excited about like seeing you and because I know you guys speak on the phone all the time, but he said he's
Yeah.
like never met the guy. I can't wait. He's excited, as we are. We're excited for the big entrance when he
Yeah.
I know. I'm waiting for
when he
this. I
clocks you.
want to see if he has a better background than I do. I was thinking. I was like going through them. I was like, yeah, this will be good for today.
Well, you're going to find out now.
He can do backgrounds, let's face it.
You know, it's going to be all moving and waterfalls and video and mapping. So I think we should let him in. Let's watch his reaction now.
Oh, I wonder if it was going to be Godzilla.
Hello.
Oh,
Hi.
what's up,
Who's
buddy?
that?
Do we need to introduce you to each other?
Yeah, Stephano, we couldn't actually get Jordan today. So
Yeah.
this is my brother.
Oh, too bad.
This is my brother Dave.
Okay.
I'm Dave. Hi guys.
Sorry to interrupt.
I was saying, I swear you'd probably have like a Godzilla background or something, but
I do. Like, there's some there.
oh, the legit background.
They're all over. I have about 30 of them. They're all over the place.
Of course you do. Yeah. We had to move out.
How is everyone? Ooh, I should have had wine too, but it's too early here.
Well, as you can see, we're great.
Yeah, you are. Just fantastic. It's so nice to see you guys and like moving.
It's lovely to see you too.
It's nice.
It's obviously it's weirder for you two, isn't it? Seeing each other moving.
Yeah, it's very weird. I've known Jordan since what, 2008?
11 years. It's been 11 years.
Is it 11 or is it 15?
Well, it's been 15. Well, yeah, but I mean for the music.
Oh yeah, the
It's
music.
been it's been almost 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's just never.
I feel like we should give you a moment, you guys. You know.
Yeah, exactly. All by myself. Yeah, we've just everything has been digital, and that's the age we live in, and it's worked. But it is weird. Like there's been, as I was saying before, Stephano logged on. There's been times where he's in Calgary and I'm not, and you know, Stephano's usually more around the award shows and stuff than I am. So if it works out, it works out. But last time was Calgary. That was the last time that was the possibility for us to meet. And I was hanging out with a buddy from Smashing Pumpkins, and I couldn't go. And then you didn't answer your phone that night. And I asked where you were going, and you're like, I don't know. Calgary's crazy.
There were twice this happened, because they were both in Calgary.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's always like these weird moments that happen
that just don't work out. So.
But I mean, the first time I met Jordan was like he was in another band, right? You were in a different band, a duo, and then I was going to do a video for them, and then it didn't. I guess we didn't get funding or something. I can't remember what it was, but
we didn't get funding. We didn't get funding, and then you introduced me to my ex-wife.
Oh, that's right.
And then that didn't work out. So Stephano even introduced me to my ex-wife, and we still haven't met.
You know what was really weird is I had a friend here who is like this. She was a model and a singer and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, Jordan, and I didn't even know Jordan that well either.
It was for the music video. It was to be in the music video.
That's right. Yeah. And I set them up, and then they end up eloping and getting married, and I don't even hear about it. And then after that, years later, they got divorced. So
amicably, everything was amicable.
So you do really go, far away beyond what you need to be doing as a producer, don't you? You really do look after your fellow artists.
Matchmaker, like everything. Yeah,
it's a full circle deal with me. Yeah.
Wow, that's real full service agency. That is.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Give me a second.
We had the whole script down. We had the whole visual piece for the video. It was a band that I was in at the time in LA, and we had well, I wouldn't say signed. We had solidified a big deal with Universal in the States, and one of the biggest contracts for a Canadian artist to an American label since like Nickelback and all those types of times. And so everyone's ramping up for the videos and what we're going to do visually. And then I met Stephano through the bandmate that was in that project. and we wrote this whole well, Stephano wrote this whole script and visual about like raining and very Tokyo and black and white with the neon signs, and then this girl comes out of the forest, and that was that then turned into my, you don't remember that?
No.
That whole thing, yeah, you had this whole,
I gotta go look at that.
Yeah, the whole thing was like very like rain. It was For There Can Never Be Another You, that one tune.
Oh, okay.
And that was the whole flowy slow motion girl thing. That's when you're like, oh, I have an idea of who that person could be.
Oh, and that was
yeah, and then everything with the label kind of fell apart, but I think for the better. But that's how we met, because we met originally. I was just saying, when you left there for a second, we met originally because of Chris, right? I met you through Chris.
I don't know. I know I contacted you guys because I loved the song that I heard, and it was Speed of Light, I think I heard.
Yeah.
And initially I thought it was Coldplay.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that it wasn't Coldplay. Like, it was bizarre. And then so I contacted one of you. I don't remember who it was. I thought it was you, but maybe it was Chris. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but worked out for the best.
Yeah. I like your background.
I know. It's like this cool like chick. I don't know if you can see it. It's like a car.
Oh yeah, I didn't see her. Okay.
Yeah.
We thought that was just your backyard.
This is where I live. This is my world, my realm. Yeah.
Keep up the pretense, please.
By the way, great radio.
Yeah. Well, it would be great on YouTube.
Yeah. Yes, I was thinking, if you're gonna do some visual stuff, I might as well have some. Like, if I take the screen off, you're literally gonna see hundreds of guitars and cases stacked up and synthesizers, and it's just a mess. So I thought this would be.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare. Imagine. Yeah. Great. Well, so how? What is the sort of distance or time between you guys? How far apart are you?
We're a 12-hour drive, like through mountains, but it's just an hour difference in time zone.
Yeah.
But I'm in Vancouver, and Jordan's in Calgary. So it's kind of like it'd probably be a lot faster drive if it weren't for the mountains, right, Jordan? It'd be, because it's just winding.
The mountains.
Yeah.
Mountains.
So, I mean, you didn't feel like making a bit more effort, you know?
Yeah, exactly. 12-hour drive every time. Actually, I don't even know how
rehearsal.
Come on.
I don't know how I would even write together with someone, because I kind of bang things out myself, and then I kind of throw them over to Jordan, and then he'll like shock me with something, and then I'll take it and I'm like, what I did was crap, and I just kind of throw away all my music, and then I wrap a whole new song around it. So it kind of goes back and forth, and then he kind of comes back.
Probably a good thing that you're not both in the same room then, isn't it, to be honest?
Probably, yeah. I think it works.
Well, we both have really strong how would you say it? And I mean this in all due respect and humbleness, like very, very, very strong ideas up front that are so different. It's like so different. And so we'll have this, and Stephano will get, if he's texting me and I don't respond for like 12 hours, he'll get like super frantic and weird and think that I'm getting all mad at him. But I'm actually not. I'm actually just taking it apart and going, I think the verse should be the bridge and the bridge should be the verse. And the chorus should be the intro. And so then I'll flip it all around and I'll fire it back to him within a matter of, let's say, 3 or 4 hours overnight. And then he'll be like, oh, I don't like this. I'm like, okay, fine. And as I said before, like, he has full reign over the music. Change it how he wants to. And then all of a sudden he'll send me something back, which is like a banger compared to what it originally was. And he'll like redo the drums and he'll redo everything. And then I'll be like, okay, now it makes sense, like how I was visualizing the structure.
Yeah. Because
I'm very pop oriented in my production head of how a song should go from A to Z. And some of his songs and ideas, they're kind of like a tapestry of emotion. They're not exactly like chorus, or like they're not exactly like intro V1, pre-chorus, chorus. What do you call that thing? You always call that one word, the redoing your palette thing.
How do you spell that?
Yeah, it's REEZERIEERRR.
Oh.
Yeah, you say that palette cleansing thing. You do it like at the end of a chorus.
Oh, like that transition thing.
You call it something. I forget what you call it, but like those types of things he'll throw in, and then it divides the song into a whole other thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like let's now write about like Ukraine war. It turns into something else.
Well, like when Us is a good example of that. When we did Us, I thought that Us was going to be about a love ballad between Jordan and his girlfriend. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, let's make, because the whole album is sounding like, it just sounds like all bangers. And I'm like, let's just have one or two ballads. One's about like pets dying. Oops. And sorry. One's about like pets dying. And this one I thought would be about love or something. So I said, why don't you make this a love ballad with your girlfriend? And then it kind of started slowly coming back. And it was a string ballad, and it was the only thing with strings on it on the whole album this time, because I usually love putting strings on everything. And he came back, and it was like, he sent me a text message, and I love his text messages that have a sound file attached. It's like Christmas every time. Like I have to run downstairs, and it's like I have to prepare myself. It's like a gift, right? It's like I get goosebumps and everything. But I mean, this time it was like, he's like, it's kind of a rap song, and it's not a love ballad anymore. It's about like the state of the world and my interpretation of how I'm looking at it. And I'm like, okay. So then I took the ballad and I listened to it, and I was blown away by a lot of the vocals. But I said, I can't leave the music like this. It doesn't make sense. So I took it and I threw all the music out, and I rebuilt it into this weird pop kind of thing. And it has like a George Michael kind of breakdown. When I heard his vocal there, that was the thing I kept going through my head, was like, this sounds like Mika and George Michael. And when the George Michael part comes in, it just has to be strings and uplifting, because I like uplifting darkness and stuff. So that song was completely different. Same as Avalon. You sent lyrics to Avalon. He sent me vocals to a B-side that I had from years ago. And I'm like, oh, I can't really use this because it was a B-side. So then I threw that away, and we built Avalon out of that. So these first songs are all kind of like weirdly put together tracks that weren't supposed to sound like the way they did initially. So we kind of work really organically, like being so far apart. It's very hands-on. It's a very strange thing. Like it's very intuitive.
It's very hands-on.
So he kind of like does this thing where he just sings something, and I call these like erasure moments, where I get this, I don't know what this melody is. I can't believe how it's almost witchcraft. Like I get goosebumps, and then either I don't get it at first, and it comes the second listen, I get this kind of crazy, oh my God, what has he done? It wasn't what I was expecting. It was better. Or I get this like, man, that's like bang on. So I've never had a thing from him where I just go, this just can't work. Like even his garbage, I'm like, just send me your outtakes, because I can wrap something around them and it'll sound great. So yeah, so that's how we kind of work. It's just like
that's quite amazing though, isn't it? When you've got two guys that are like 12 hours apart, and you come in at one song, two totally different angles, and then you fire ideas together, and something germinates in the middle, and something amazing just comes out that surprises both of you. Isn't that that's the best of what music's about, isn't it?
Well, that's why
it's rare. It's
very rare. Because I'm a director.
There's no formula, is there?
No, because Jordan is the musician, so he's probably.
But I'm not doing the music.
Yeah, and you're not doing music, and that's another weird thing.
Why would you?
So it's like everything is unorthodox, but it's working. It's really strange. But like he's a musician. I shouldn't be like. It's kind of a weird mix of everything. But I mean, this album that we're doing, I work in film a lot, and I live film. I'm a storyteller, so I feel like music is actually my most inspiring thing. So when I hear all these songs that we have getting ready, I think it's my favorite artistic project I've ever done, even in film or in music. It's kind of like I'm a storyteller, so I can't choose, oh, I prefer film. It's like film is me. So music, this project that we're working on, every single time he sends me something, I think we got 6 vocal tracks finished, 6 tracks with vocals finished. There's like 23 waiting, so there could be.
See, there was a jab right there. There was a jab right there. He's waiting for those.
No, I'm good. But like, but these songs, like every time he sends me, it's seriously, it's like playing. I don't feel like I'm gonna go, oh, this is like torture. How am I going to do this? It's literally.
We don't fight like a band, because we're not like a band. I think that's the dynamic, is that we're a total band, yet we're not.
Yeah.
And since we've never met each other in the flesh, it's like we can have our arguments over text, and it's like not personal. Like we can talk about. Stephano knows. I'll personally, I'm very, very Asperger's when it comes to like creating a tune, and if I'm not in it, I'm out. And all of a sudden, I'll send him a tune from 8 years ago, and he's expecting like the Godzilla song or something. And I'll always just do these different random things if they come to me, and we don't ever have like the band animosity, or not animosity, but the tension of writing something. We're trying to make a schedule of doing things. Like I'm 4 songs in right now, like 4 new tunes that Stephano hasn't even heard, that I every night go through, comb them, change everything about them, delete the whole thing, and then I'll send him something. He has no idea what I'm sending, and he'll send me something back, and I have no idea what he's sending me. And that's just been really cool. Not to like, repeat that point, but it's not, there's no egos, there's no delay, there's no clash in creativity, nothing, because we don't even know what we're doing. We just
everything he does like elevates my stuff. So I don't like, I feel like it's a big gift for me. But like, even with that Godzilla song he's talking about, we should probably talk about that, because there's only one song that I said, Jordan, like, because usually I don't care about lyrics. As long as he's not talking about chopping up babies or something, I'll be like, okay, this is incredible. Because the lyrics are always so bizarre. Like he puts things in ways that I never thought of, and he brings up topics I didn't think of, but this still kind of goes with the emotion of the song. But this time I had one song, because I'm obsessed with Godzilla since I was a little kid.
Oh, wait.
No.
Yeah. And I said,
no.
Jordan, I said, Jordan, you got to do the song about Godzilla. It's got to be an environmental song. So he's got to be the good guy, but kind of the what do they call it when the good guy is kind of also a bad guy? He kind of plays both. He's like the inadvertent bad guy. I don't know. I can't remember what the thing is for that. But I said, make it about the environment and just make it about Godzilla. And so I sent him, like, I was just sitting at my computer, and this song spilled out of me, and it literally wrote itself in 5 minutes. And I think it's the best thing I've ever done. It kind of has these weird synth moments in the middle, which were like choruses. And I can't believe that came out of me. And I said, Jordan, this is the Godzilla song. And he took a year, I think, because he was so worried about what Godzilla fans would think around the world. And I'm like, don't worry, just make it your own thing.
That's a hell of a responsibility, though. Isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but I think I terrified him. So
you did, because like, me growing up watching Godzilla, there's different perspectives of, and we can go down a rabbit hole with this, because like Stephano and I have talked about this for hundreds of hours, but how the original Godzilla was created, what it actually meant as an archetype in Japanese culture, didn't know that at all. Like, had no idea. Then the whole environmental piece, not being vigilante, but like kind of like keeping the balance of good and bad. And I think there's something too with the nuclear, and when humans start, tearing apart the earth, that's when he comes back. But then there's other perspectives of him being the was it the atom bomb, kind of like a depiction of the atom bomb happening in Japan. And there's all these different things. So when I start going down the rabbit hole of writing a tune like that, you have a couple billion people that are going to believe or not believe what you're singing. So yeah, it took about a year to put that one together.
But you know what he did?
I tricked it. Because I didn't know.
A text message, and he said he has the choirs, the children's choirs for this other track, and I'm like, I thought we were shelving that track, but I looked at it, and he had this whole file, because that's what he does. He surprises me with a track, and then I went down. Of course, I ran downstairs like a little kid, and he called it the tree planter song, and I'm like, oh, he's probably done Godzilla. And then literally I was crying. I was in tears. Like, it was like one of those erasure moments to me, where, when you get an Erasure album, like in the past, and I sleep with my CDs the first nights because I'm so excited. And you live for those songs and those melodies that you've never heard before, but they're so catchy. I had those moments with something I created, and then he added something, and it was insane. So I took it immediately and I spun it into something different. I added like a lot of stuff, and I can't listen to it. We're own people. I just fall into tears. Like, he blew it out of the park. It was so incredible what he did. So, and on top of that, it's my favorite thing I've ever done, even just as an instrumental piece. And I'm sure, I think a lot of people, Jordan, will probably, if they can get through the first little weird moment of it and it goes into the chorus, we might lose them until the chorus. But it's such a bonkers song. And I think it's probably not the strongest song on the album. I think it's probably like fifth or something. But for me, it's the best thing I've ever been a part of. I think, like, I just love it. And that's it's a perfect example of Jordan just kind of coming back his timeline and kind of doing things in a way that I might not have asked for, but they come back better than when I asked for. So yeah, it's pretty impressive what he can do. So for me, it's like a kid playing. So I'm really happy. Even if it takes a year, I'm like, okay, well, we'll just postpone the album for another year, like, because everything's so fun that's why we released these first 2 or 3 tracks now, but our third one's coming out, is because I took the 3 songs that I thought these are probably the least strong songs on the album, but they're kind of a good indication of building up to something. So I'm kind of keeping the powder dry for the album, because after you release an album, everything becomes a single. So you're kind of like screwed. Like, you release 12 songs or 13 songs, and what do you do to promote? You just get your friends to do remixes. I do like cute little videos, or like, it's kind of a waste for me. So I'm enjoying this slow build up, and I almost want to like bring it. I almost feel like keep releasing singles. But I mean, so I don't know. It's kind of a difficult thing. But with Jordan, it's easy to do whatever we kind of decide. There's no, like, nothing's written in stone.
So the third single that's coming out that we're going to be promoting, what's that about?
That was a song that I heard in the year 2000. Jordan laughs at me, and he should laugh at me, because I didn't know who the original singer was of this song. I thought it was so I heard a Reba McEntire song, and when I was I can't remember, it was 20 years ago, about 22 years ago, and for some reason the melody was so sweet. Again, to bring up Erasure, it sounded
you would have been about 7 then, yeah?
Yes, I would have. Yes, no, I wouldn't. I was not 7. No, I was more like 70. But I actually have always loved that song, and I thought it might have been a Dolly Parton song or something. I can't remember. And I said to Jordan, I said, because we tried doing I said, we need a cover on this album. I'd love to do a cover. So initially we threw.
But we needed a cover. We needed a cover that was like a banger. Like, it can't just be. It can't be like, oh yeah, of course they would cover that tune. It had to be.
Do you remember the first one, "The Air That I Breathe"? We both went away. Yeah. And I went to start doing the music for the other and I'm like, I'm shit. Like, I feel like a hack. Like, there's beautiful strings in that song, and I felt like I was doing a robot version of it. And then he sends me his bit, and he's like, I don't know, man, I'm not. And he sounded like this dark Muse, like, the band Muse. It sounded so dark, and my stuff sounded so weirdly. And we just kind of dropped it. We're like, let's do something else. And then I remembered this Reba McEntire song, which I've loved so much. It's always in my head every year.
The perfect
song that keeps coming back in your head, and I thought, so then I said, let's do this one. So he goes, oh dude, that's a classic. And I go, oh, he knows the Reba McEntire song. And then I went to do errands with my dad. I drove my dad around, and then 3 hours later I get this perfected vocal, but it was like this dark vocal, and I'm like, this sounds incredible. And he goes, yeah, it's the Kenny Rogers. I took it, it's the Kenny Rogers song. And I'm like, Kenny Rogers?
He did it as well.
Yeah. And
Kenny Rogers did. It is Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Kenny Rogers. So I didn't know. I said, no, I love this. But I said, we got to pop it up. So I said, listen to Reba's version. So when she does this to her voice, do that there and do this and do this. So he did it identically. Basically, he kind of took that as inspiration, and I went and took it into a complete. To me, it sounds like kind of a Pet Shop Boys, Always on My Mind kind of a feel. It has a high energy 80s kind of feel, or The Visitors by ABBA, how it kind of builds with kind of like that whole vibe. So I kind of put those things together, and then that was the first song that we actually completed. And
for this record,
the song the version you're hearing is the demo. Like, I didn't want to touch it. It came out so well. I mean, I did tweak it. That's why there's 20 versions of it. Like I just tweaked mixing of it, but it's identical to the first thing that we did after he put his Reba vocal instead of the Kenny Rogers dark vocal on it. But I love it to death. Like I just think it sounds so, it's such a tragic song, but it's so uplifting. So I love this dark uplifting kind of thing. It's not just this happy, cheery, cheesy thing. It's like, if you listen to the lyrics, it's about somebody that fell in love with somebody that they just know they can't love them back, but they're kind of letting go. They're like, you know what, you're incredible, but I gotta walk away from you. And it's this kind of like, it's this tragic love song, but sung in a really loving way. It's like parting ways, but in like, you know what, you're the greatest person on earth, and I love you, but I gotta walk away because you can't love me. You have like your own problems. And the way Jordan sings it though, because he's like this 80s belter, which is incredible for me because that's, you know, that's right up my alley. So he just like, I thought he was going to be a little bit more, you know, like
top solemn.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he just belted it, and he did all these vocals. It sounds like monks singing in the background and these choirs, and I'm like, I was getting goosebumps. And so that's what inspired the track to be so, it's in three parts. It's basically it's in three acts. So the first part is this droning analog synth thing, the little burbling synths underneath, and then it turns into a total pop song, and then it turns into this 80s high energy arpeggiation, like Giorgio Moroder type of kind of a thing. So you know, so it kind of worked. It's another thing of like Jordan's a heavy metal singer, and I think gospel, I don't know, Jordan does like hard rock and country and stuff too. And I'm like, we're mixing these two worlds that really would never touch in normal, but we're kind of mixing them because we both respect what we do. Because he's always sent me messages going, dude, this is so colorful, or dude, this is incredible. It's like, I'm inspired by this. And I'm like, your vocals inspiring me. So it's kind of a weird mix how we just come together in a place that I would have never thought, let me get a vocal like Jordan, this belting kind of crazy strong falsetto and deep. Like with Godzilla, he says he hits his Adam's apple, he says in one of the parts, and it's so deep it sounds like a Japanese TV reporter in the pre-chorus.
Yeah.
And like he has the biggest range. And his other song, the other song he sent me, Jordan, You're My Light, is that the one?
You're My Light,
falsetto.
yeah.
It's falsetto for the whole time.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, it's just insane. It's insane what he can do.
Yeah, it's, we can say the name of what the song is, right?
Oh yeah, we probably should. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're hoping to play it, so yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for you guys to hear it. You know, it was an interesting. So it's a 9-part harmony song. 9-part harmony, and a lot of that stuff I tried to kind of tap into Stephano's mindset of synth lines, or so there's a lot of like bass, like I'm singing the whole thing in just monotone, and then there's a third, and then there's a fifth, and they're basically like synth lines, but they're saying the words, and then they'll move with the melody that then does the third, the fifth, the seventh, and so it's Music Man. And that was the funny thing is I grew up in a very country oriented house, and so when he said let's do this song, I was thinking Kenny Rogers. that was the whole kind of story that Stephano just said. But so I did the whole I want to tell you I have left for Music Man, I will be there to the hand like you used to. It was like, and he's like, what is this song? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, he's like Reba McEntire. I'm like, well, then she obviously covered this tune. And he's like, oh, so then it changed for me. And I was like, oh, I got a lot to work with, because the Reba tune, well, the Reba tune in terms of melodics and harmonies and everything, it's huge. And then that's what I did. I just fired it back with just every single layer. And I said, slam it or take whatever what you want out. And I don't care. I'm just giving you it all. And it's an interesting song. It gets uncomfortable at the end, how when the drums come in, it's like it's a banger, and I'm singing very falsetto and calm and cool, but you Stephano did a huge like that. It's so aggressive at the end, and then it just dies off. And I was like, that's a cover. For me, I was proud of that. That was a cover. That's something that someone else has never done, or I've never heard. At least I've never heard someone do that cover that way. And it was because I didn't know the actual cover version. That's what the cool thing was about it. I was writing the whole thing in a Kenny Rogers mindset, and then I had to flip that whole thing around and then send it back to him in a day, and it was frantically chaotic, and it worked. And the danceability of it is it's really fun. Like, I still listen to that tune, I'm like, what the hell? Like, you forget kind of how you recorded it one day, because I just get in the zone and go. And so that'll be the next song you guys promote. It's going to be fun. It's powerful. It's hard to sing in her range, but we did it. So
I begged. I'm like, can you please do the pop Reba McEntire version?
Very high. Yeah, very high.
And it's also very structured, which I really like. Whereas Kenny Rogers sounds like it has a jazz or jazzy kind of, jazz or classical. His was obviously, it felt like a jazz kind of. It's very unstructured, where I love structure. And so Reba's was very pop. And Kenny's that really beautiful intro that you sang, that's out. I didn't obviously do that because not in the Reba one.
That's gone. Yeah, it's gone.
And it's like, I think it's kind of, I just wanted it to sound like this epic thing is coming in. And then it just kind of keeps building. And I almost wanted to add a fourth act where it just kept building. But I thought that'd be overkill. So it was just, because I think I could have maybe, but I think it would have been just, I don't know where I would go with that. It'd be stupid. It'd be just a wall of sound after that, probably.
Yeah, I think, I like how the song actually ends. It's like, what is it, like 2:51?
No,
something
it's
like that.
3.5. I know, it feels
3.5.
short. Yeah, it feels short.
And it just cuts. It's done.
Yeah, it's done.
That like the perfect pop song length.
It is. Yeah. Everything. Yeah, this whole album so far is all 250 to 330. It's all within. Yeah. Everything is a tiny short pop in and out. I mean, maybe there'll be something. Actually, no. There's a song that's not touched yet. It's probably gonna be the end song. I think it's at 4.5, but that's kind of like a finishing song. But
yeah, you got like Disco Imperia. You got like I'm working on
that's short.
Yeah, it's short. Mustard Seed. That one's depressing, but it's good. It's tough.
When you said that last week.
Well, it's tough. It's tough when you write. It's tough when you write. I really enjoy it, but like with Stephano, he's like, I really want the song to be, like a how would you describe it? Like a memorial, like a.
Is that the pet one?
Yeah, the pet one. Yeah, like
I mean,
it's
I
like pet.
Yeah,
like a funeral or whatever. Yeah, it's like okay.
It sounds like inspirational, and it sounds like it's the other ballad basically, and it sounds like this kind of space age heaven kind of thing. So I thought, why don't we make this about like Rainbow Bridge? So I think like we're throwing around. So I thought, like, why don't we make it about, because everyone loves animals, they're animals. So no one's ever done like a love, kind of like a tribute to like a pet dying, and I mean, it's the most like depressing thing to think about. But I mean, so
it stretches you. It stretches your writing capability too, because it's tough.
Aren't you thinking
it's tough?
Of a Leonard Cohen type of
yeah, like I got and that tune goes really, really like in the vocal register goes very low.
Yeah.
And it's just very eerie, and then you start thinking about your own animals and your own pets, and like my shepherd and your cats, and like you start thinking about that stuff, and it's cool, but it's dark. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be, I think when they're all out, I think everyone will listen to them, and it will hopefully, my whole goal is it's going to bring back somewhat of that old school, like read the lyrics while you watch or while you listen, kind of the old vinyl. Like I miss that when people just buy a single and they don't care about the story, they don't care about the album. I think if people are really into this, they're going to really understand, like when I'm describing my love for a person, and I'm describing that in like a tapestry piece that was made in Paris in 1776, like they have to understand what the two connections are, and you have to read it and really get into the album. I hope that happens. That's basically what we've done since the beginning, is we hope that people see it as a story. And it's all over the place. Reba McEntire covers to Animal Funerals to Avalon to, you know, the Isle, like, you know, yeah, just all, it's just, it's so hard. It's such a challenge for me. And that's why I've stuck with it. Cause it's so hard for me to write really, really good, interesting stuff throughout the entire tune. And then the next song is about something completely different, but it's smart. That's been the main thing, is it has to be smart. You want to talk to me about Us? You want to talk to me about Avalon? I can talk to you about it for 45 minutes on meanings in the tune, rather than like just pumping out a pop tune, being like, baby, I love you. Ooh, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, love, love.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah.
That's all. Like when I send it to him, like there's 2 songs on the album. There's the intro, which we haven't talked about, which I think is like, it sounds like a Weekend, like that kind of a song. And there's the one big hit that it was the first one that I actually wrote that just sat there, and it's been sitting there, and it's the one huge kind of thing. For me, it sounds like an Avicii kind of tribute. It's so big, but we haven't even touched those, because all these other ones are a little bit more interesting, because he kind of like cares about things that I don't care, like the lyrics. I love his lyrics, but that's not when I'm writing it. I'm more of a vibe and energy person, an emotion person. So he cares about the lyrics. So when there's a few songs, actually, there's 2 main songs that we haven't talked about. Those ones I'm like, just do Ooh Babies. Like I don't care. If you get goosebumps and tears in their eyes from happiness, that's all I care about. Like, but he cares about the lyrics. So I have like this extra special thing where I'm like, oh, one day when I'm really tired of the album, I go, oh my God, he's a poet, like reading the lyrics. So I'm kind of happy that he's like that, because I'm not. I do love lyrics. Like I love poetry and lyrics, but I just care about the music giving people goosebumps and tears of joy, and being moved with the like, if he does something kind of in a part, like during, like in like the other ones that you guys have heard, Us, when it turns into that George Michael moment, it was just uplifting strings for me. Like I couldn't think of anything else. And then I thought it was still too smarmy. So then that really weird bridge comes in. It sounds like a total like berserk 80s song. It's all, I kind of tried balancing it with all these and this whole album is full of that. It's all these weird bonkers segments. There's a Japanese like sitar segment that turns into like a weird schizophrenic kind of Japanese kind of thing. It's for Godzilla. Like there's so many different weird things in this. So I kind of want it to be counter to Jordan in a way, because Jordan is bringing like the deep kind of art of the lyrics, and I want to be the zany kind of craziness to it, that it doesn't just become like, obviously, you know, we don't want to get all up our asses about it. Like we just want to also have fun.
Yeah.
So I think that's what the balance is kind of cool with this. Even like the Reba song, I mean the Kenny Rogers song, same thing. Like it's the most structured. It's very rigid. Not really, I wouldn't say it's kind of bonkers more in theme than it is when you're listening to it. It just kind of builds, but the album has a lot of really crazy moments in it that is a mix of Jordan's like really cool vocals and lyrics, and just me trying to maneuver around them and kind of dress it in clothing, maybe eccentric clothing.
Well, we're really, really looking forward to it. I think I'll remember that moment forever, when I was sat at my computer and tapping away, and then we were messaging on Facebook, and you said, I've got this song, can I send it to you? Do you want to play it on your show first? And I was like, of course, yeah. And you sent it over, and then I listened to it on my headphones. Bridget was behind me working on, I think you were on a video call training session or something. And you said, I remember it, you said, it's coming off the new album, but this isn't one of the best songs on the album. You know, I'm sort of worried it's not the most powerful song on the album. What do you think? And I played Us, and I was, you know, you get a moment sometimes when you hear a song and you stop and you can't find your words, and I'm playing again, and I said, Bridget, listen to this. She's on a call or something, I can't remember. But listen to this, and it's like playing, and it was like, and she was the same. She's like, wow. if that's not, you know, if that's not one of the strongest songs on the album,
yeah.
And where are we now? With July, nearly August, and it's still my song of the year.
Wow.
So far, we get hundreds of songs come through, and Us, Avalon is a great song too. So we can't wait to hear the other stuff. But when that came through, it was one of those moments I will remember, and it was because how you were underselling this thing, and it came through, and I was like, Mika, George Michael, and Erasure, and everything that I have grown up with is all thrown in there, but it all makes sense, and it's a, I hate to use the word perfect pop song, but it is an amazing pop song. So if that's not one of the stronger ones, we really can't wait for the album to come out.
I think
thank you.
you're
That's
the first person that I was so apprehensive about, because that's the 40th version. It started off completely different, and then by the 20th version, I actually deleted everything and restarted from scratch.
That's why we lost the. That's why we were confused with that tune, because it went through 20 renditions, and then, well, more than that, but like 20 rough renditions, and then it just it clicked with certain little pieces. I re-recorded the vocal, like, for me being a huge George Michael fan, huge Mika fan, huge like I love even just other obscure pop artists. I like their tone, and I don't sing like that, and so I was trying to kind of tap into that. And then
bizarre, the final, it seemed such a natural thing, listening to how everything's together, and all. Sometimes you hear a great pop song and you think, oh, I wouldn't have put that bit in, you know, even the good, really good Erasure stuff. Sometimes you think, yeah, I don't know about that bit, but it's a great song. This was like everything. Impact was start to finish. Like it was just a natural. It was amazing.
You know, you're the first person that I was so apprehensive after the 40, because actually by about the 30th version, I remember I was drinking by myself, I think, and I was in the basement, and I almost deleted it completely. And then even after I uploaded it to the system for the distribution, I almost did a pull down, right? it wasn't even going to be a B-side, it wasn't going to be an album track.
Wow.
I was so confused, but I loved what Jordan did, but I didn't know if it was like, it started like getting to me, and finally I got it over that, and I sent it to you.
Yeah.
And you blew me away.
Immediately, it was like, wow, I've not heard a song like that for this. I can't remember the last time I have, actually, probably, but this year that we have hundreds, don't know how many hundreds of tracks we get, and we listen to them before they go on all of the shows, all the presenters. And that is the standout one still. There's not been anything that's come near it. I absolutely love that song.
Jordan almost deleted it completely.
Yeah, well, and it kind of it blew me away too.
Leave that button.
when Stephano sent me the, you know, he sent it to you guys and said we're gonna play it on radio and do our thing, and then he sent me the audio clip back, and I remember sitting in my car going like, holy crap! Like when you're like, this is the song of the year, I'm like, what? Like that.
Oh yeah.
I'm extremely honored by that personally, because we didn't really know what we had no freaking idea what we were doing that song. No idea. And then for you to have that kind of background knowledge of all the other bands, which I'm very new to, but I'm very familiar with, but like I was trying to pull from the band, like the people that you described. It was like, this is a very George Michael feeling. I was like, yeah, he heard that. Like that's what I was trying to do. It was really cool to hear that acknowledgement.
I didn't get the impression that you were emulating them.
No, but I mean, that's those are the people I was trying to pick from, and how you just picked that out. I was like, wow, like that was for me an honor. Like I remember sitting in my car and he sent me the audio file. He sent me the audio file of you introducing the song, and I was like, thank you. Like that's what I tried to do.
I recorded it and I sent it to him right away. I'm like, you got to hear that. I was so touched by that.
But it worked. It connected. It gave me goosebumps when I heard it, and it's still, when I think about it now, I absolutely love that song.
Yeah.
Whatever beats
that song's deep. There's a lot of stuff in that tune, and there's a lot of stuff in that tune that's deliberately written to be gray, not picking a side. But you know, there's, if you want to get into a songwriting talk, we can, but like there's certain things that I would do with like the reverbs if you're talking about like when a fool rushes in, and you're talking about the war and the Russian, like there's a lot of stuff that was written in that tune that most people will never pick up or know, but just very, very deliberately written to say, no matter where you are, no matter what side you're from, no matter what you believe or don't believe in, you know, science or no science or this and that. It was the perfect time to write a tune saying, "This is us. We're here to change the world." What does that mean? I don't know. Nobody knows. But we're just like, baby, this is us. We're here to change the world. Like we're just gonna, you know, put our opinion into our politics and our lives and our families and our love, and everything is gonna be okay. And then even the video that Stephano did too, like there's a lot of jarring stuff in it, and you're like, whoa, yeah, like you see how he picked out visual things of my lyrics, and it all just wrapped up into it was a cool moment. That's one of those rare moments that we kept repeating ourselves now, but like even you hearing that song and being like, wow, if that's like one of the weakest songs, it's probably one of the best lyrically prolific songs that we have on the record so far. I won't say that. There's other ones that are really deep, but it just was the right time in the world as well.
Yeah, that's another reason we picked
that we did it. Is the pandemic's lifting or not lifting, or your views or your science on the internet telling me you're right or that I'm wrong, and just the utter confusion of what does it all mean was also a perfect time to do it. And we talked back and forth being like, should we do this? And we're like, let's just do it. Like, what? The whole thing was written to be gray. No one's right, no one's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he did such a good job of making it gray that I took stuff from it that I believe in, because I'm pro-vaccination. I'm probably looked at as I'm progressive, and I took all these kind of really cool fruit from this song. I took cool fruit from this song that I'm like, oh, this means this means this that I believe in, this means, and then I told him, and he's like, actually, that's not really what it means. And I thought that maybe this is us, we're here to change the world. I took that as kind of like a tongue-in-cheek, like we're looking at kind of Instagram culture, and like we think we're influencers and we think we're doing something, but we're not. So I thought it was kind of like this kind of like an underhanded kind of insult kind of to society in general. Yep. So I took all these things that he said, it could be that, but it could also be the opposite. So it was kind of cool how he crafted the lyrics to be in this center thing where I could take them and go, oh yeah, this totally speaks to me, and to like, science is good, and it's kind of it's spiritual too. So I'm like, and I'm spiritual. So, but then you can actually take the exact same lyrics and use them for the opposite side. So it's a pretty clever song, I think,
Yeah.
It was fun. It was challenging, but it was fun.
Yes. It was definitely not what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a love ballad and turned into a political rap song.